Hello there, the winter's here. My name is Oakanza Alfred. I'm assuming by now we have been through the process of acquiring land, and most of you have already acquired the land. After acquiring land, most people don't know what to do, and that's where most mistakes are made. Today, I'm joined by a guest, my lovely guest, Ziana Moitshubedi. Ziana Moitshubedi is a director at Wrangler Facilities, and he's an educator, having taught real estate students about building technology. Moitshubedi today is going to take us through pre-construction services. Moitshubedi, welcome. Moitshubedi.
Yes. No, thank you very much, Alfred. This is an opportunity for me to, as an educator, as somebody who's very passionate about construction. I've been in construction for, I think, close to 30 years now.
Wow.
So, both as a practitioner and as an educator. So it's an opportunity, and thank you very much for welcoming
You don't
me.
look a day over 30. But yes.
I've been a player in this industry for some time now. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We're so privileged to have you here. Please, we have been talking about land acquisition and the problems that come with it, and we've tried to solve some and direct people on where they could possibly go if they have any issues. And we're at a point where I'm assuming a lot of people understand land acquisition, and maybe they've already bought the land now. They want to build whatever they want to build on the structures. So I thought it'd be necessary that we have an expert. You come in and you tell us about pre-construction services. Now that I have bought this land, then what's the next step? What do I do?
Well, people acquire land for many reasons. Some acquire land. I suppose you've gone through acquisition stage, but let me just go through it a little bit, and because I feel that the stage where people acquire land is actually a wrong stage. But we understand why, because some people get land as a gift, some people inherit it, some people buy speculatively, but you're going to realize that the pre-construction services, they actually provide a solution and a recommendation where people should actually buy land. You can't just buy land and then what? That is the challenge. That is where the problem is, because you need to buy land that you know exactly what you're going to use it for.
It's interesting. So basically what you're saying is the sequence should be the pre-construction services, then acquiring the land.
Land acquisition is a component of pre-construction stage.
Okay.
It means the first stage, as you know, is project definition. You need to say, what is it that I would like to do?
Okay.
Remember that there are so many commodities in construction, residential, retail, commercial, industrial. There's so many things that you can do with a piece of land. So, but before you can decide, obviously there are so many stakeholders who can give you that sort of information, like some consultants. But the most important thing is you need to define what you want to do. What is it that you want to do with the land? Project definition. You need to say, am I going to build a residential single unit, multi-residential? Am I going to build warehouses, offices, industrial properties? When you are done with that question, you move to a question of feasibility. Now, feasibility, this is where now you're going to be informed what sort of land you should really buy, because feasibility covers a lot of things. Feasibility covers financial feasibility. Are you liquid?
Yeah. Affordability.
Yeah, affordability. Yeah, affordability
Yes.
is very, very important. Then you need to talk about technical viability. Do you have the right requisite knowledge to embark on such a project? Because construction is very, very technical. So you need to have information, you need to have knowledge, experience, you need to have a team of experts around you to navigate with you through the whole process. So you need to also be aware of, the zoning coordinates. You need to know the permits. You need to be aware of the environment. There's so many things that you need to do in your feasibility study. And then you move from feasibility study, you move to site analysis. Now, this is where now you have your land, because obviously your land acquisition is informed by your feasibility, because feasibility talks about a lot of things. Can you afford this land? Accessibility, where is it? You know what I'm saying? And issues like that. So now you have your land, so you need to carry out a site analysis. Why are you carrying out a site analysis? Because now you are moving closer to a design stage.
Okay.
Yeah, you're moving to a design stage. So you need to analyze your site, because the data, the information that is generated out of that site is going to be used
In the design stage.
by the engineers as well as the architect.
Yes.
So at this stage, now, this is a stage where now you should be having your consortium, your team of consultants. Now because let's assume that you are Alfred, you're just a business person, you know nothing about construction, you know nothing about real estate. Really, you need a team of people who can advise you, who can navigate with you throughout the whole process. So what do you do? The best thing that we do in construction, we form a vehicle, a consortium of consultants, in most cases led by a lead consultant, could be a quantity surveyor.
Okay.
If you are cost sensitive, because quantity surveyors deal with money, or you can have an architect if you are a design sensitive. So the choice is yours. You can have either the quantity surveyor or the architect as your lead consultant. And then they can assemble a team of experts, and we call that vehicle a consortium. Now that consortium, they're the ones who are going to navigate through, they will do the site inspection for you. Obviously it's done by a topographical surveyor who does all the soil investigations, because remember, for the structural engineer to come up with a choice of a foundation design, he requires information that is generated out of the site. We need to know the soil profile. We need to know what sort of soil is there, so that the structural engineer could come up with an appropriate or a suitable foundation that suits not just your budget, but it also suits the profile of the soils in your plot.
Moitshubedi,
Yes,
I just want us to go back a little bit.
absolutely.
I want us to speak to your average Motswana who has no technical expertise.
Yes.
I want us to speak to them in a language that they understand. Moitshubedi, I've bought a plot. I have a plot. I'm building a residential property for my family. I do not wish to sell it or anything. I just want to build. I've acquired this land. Who is the first person that I contact? I hear you are talking about feasibility studies and all of that, but I don't know if it translates well to the person that this is meant for.
Yeah.
Then I need to do a feasibility study. For the feasibility study. I ke bona re Moitshubedi o dira 1, 2, 3, 4, or do I do it myself, and how do I do it?
It's going to be very difficult for you to, because you don't know the process. So now, the best thing that you do, which a lot of people don't do, is probably to get yourself a project manager.
Yes.
A project manager, like I said, you have an option to choose cost, the quantity surveyor, or in most cases, people choose an architect to be your lead consultant.
Okay.
Now, your lead consultant is going to be your eyes. He's the one who's going to navigate with you through the process. Because what most people do, they assume that after site acquisition, the plot, then it's brick and mortar. They're not aware that before you can actually put the brick on the mortar, there's a lot of processes that need to be carried out. You need to get your team together for design. You need to have your drawings approved at the city council. You need to carry out all your soil investigations, to have all your structural drawings. You need the whole team, electrical designs, plumbing services, and there's so many services within a house.
Yeah, there's so many services.
Yeah, so most of us are not knowledgeable about that. So what do? Get yourself an architect who's going to help you to acquire the services of all these other people. But if you look at what corporate investors do, they come up with a vehicle called a consortium. They create a vehicle where you have a team of experts led either by quantity surveyor or architect who are going to carry out this process. They will do the feasibility study for you. After doing the feasibility study for you, remember that you need to have a budget. And you can't have a budget before you actually know how much it's going to cost you to build this house. So these people will do all the timelines, the project timelines, so that they can align the project to the schedule, so that you are not going to have you're going to finish very late, you have cost overruns and things like that. So what we are saying is that these pre-construction services are essential, are very, very important in order to give you an opportunity to have your project completed on time within the budget. So you need to have your lead consultant so that they can do your feasibility study, they can do your site investigation, they can do your budget, they can do your risk management, they can make sure that your project complies, they can make sure that you've got your environmental impact assessment report on time, so that you are not in trouble with the law. Because imagine you've got a site next to the river, and then you have to develop a lodge, and then you have not done an environmental impact assessment. What's going to happen? That project can fail, even though the construction process has been done properly. But you have skipped a very, very important aspect of construction, because we need to know the relationship between the ecosystem, the impact of your project, or the impact
on the ecosystem.
On the ecosystem. And it's a responsibility of government to ensure that the environment stay intact, that there's a coexistence between the ecosystem and the project. And also, we also need the community as well.
Yes,
you need the community, because there's so many cultural and historical sites around. You can't just come in and you acquire a site next to Moremi Gorge, or you acquire a site next to Lentsolabaratani, and then the community is not aware. Imagine what's going to happen.
Even on a smaller scale, I remember there's a time that I bought a plot in a gated estate at Toba Hamlet. And yeah, we bought the plot, we got in there, Narazana, Raha, and stuff. But now, lo behold, there's regulations and rules in place. It's the estate that run and regulate the estate. And because we hadn't taken time already to decently, it now pushes us back, because now they have to say, no, this is not how we do things here.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I totally get how the pre-construction services include learning about your community, or your property, Hagai, and your community. And
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I think issues of, people take them for granted, issues of zoning, land use, permits, environment, social and cultural sides. People normally, they especially investors and individual people who are acquiring the plot to build a house for themselves, not necessarily for investment. They take those aspects very lightly, but they can impact very negatively on the project if you don't do it properly. So the best thing that you should do before or even, you still have an option to acquire the services of an architect if you do things properly. Ideally, this is how it's supposed to be done. I know that people normally they go to the bank based on affordability, but imagine you go to the bank to acquire a loan on affordability, not on the feasibility of the project.
Yes.
You see why if you move around, you see a lot of places left unfinished. These are some of the challenges where you get 2 million and you say to the architect, look, I want a 4-bedroom house in suite, double story, 4 million. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then you cut corners and then you get a bricklayer to build it for you. You don't get the services of the whole engineers to do all the drawings, engineering drawings, electrical, plumbing, all the services within the house. And these are the things that we're talking about. You must get these things done before you can even think of procuring a contractor.
Oh, that goes wrong. I'll cite there's a project that we did. We had an individual come in and say they are looking for a plan and they will be financing through the bank.
Yeah.
But somehow the bank had told them that go and do the plan. After you've done the plan, then we will give you the money. So when I asked them, okay, what's the budget? What are we drawing? And no, they went for a house of their dreams. And then you get to the bank now, it's like, no, it's you can't afford this. So I think the trick, you'd assume that people know what we know, but they don't. So you might think this is not important, but it's very important because people often don't know what to do. Like the people I'm talking about went and did a plan 2-story. It cost a lot of money to do a 2-story building and then went to the bank only to be told, no, they're not that house. It can't work. Instead of having been advised on whether this is within the budget or not. Yeah, so.
And look, like I said, the only way you would know, have an idea, because these are estimates, is when you carry out a feasibility. And you do all your cost estimates. And you do all your soft and hard estimates. If you don't do that, and you base it on issues of affordability, that you are capable of getting 2 million from the bank based on your salary, how much you need to get in order to invest in your construction project should be informed by the feasibility. The quantity surveyor should be the one who says, look, for you to build, because you want to build a house of your dream. You want a double story. And you're telling the architect, look, I want a double story. And I want it this way. Obviously, they're supposed to lead you and tell you that, no, cut that, stand this way. That's why you need their services anyway. So, but people are not aware that a house has got so many services.
Let's talk about those services. Even if you've hired somebody to carry out those things, you're also clued up onto what to look for. Are we on the right track?
That is why if you go back to what I said at project definition, at project definition, this is where you need to define the scope of your project. You define the scope of your project. And at the same time, you need to familiarize yourself with the stakeholders. Who are you going to be dealing with? You need to be familiar with the architect, interior designer. Not many people use interior designers. You can also even use interior decorator if you are go to the level of interior decorator, very knowledgeable about material and things like that. Because the other two are very technical people. This other one is very innovative, creative. You need to know about all the engineers, starting with your quantity surveyor, all your surveyors, both cadastral and topographical. Remember, when you are buying a plot, this is what a lot of people, that's why a lot of fights over ownership. Absolutely.
Yes.
So this is why you need a cadastral surveyor. Cadastral surveyor is the one who's going to ascertain the ownership. He's the one who's going to tell you that your plot starts from here, it ends there.
Like what high refer those services?
Look, people still kill each other, still having certificates with all the sketches that show that your plot starts here, it ends there.
Yeah.
But you need somebody to diffuse the dispute between the two people who are neighbors, to say, look, before you even bring a contractor to site, you need to bring a cadastral surveyor to say, look, this is your plot. So these are the people that you need to know, and you need to define at stage number 1, which is a project definition. To say, this is the scope. Scope meaning, look, I want to build a single story or double story.
Yes, a commercial property or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And what are the services and who are the people who are going to assist me?
One like supang mekon.
Absolutely.
Then after that, we come in with the engineer to do the soil
investigations.
Yes.
Because you need that information in a format that the structural engineer, the architect, will be able to use it.
Yes.
When they design
the foundation. The
foundation
type
and the entire
structure.
Okay.
So what is it about soil safety influencing the type of foundation really? Yeah.
Now this is when you do the site inspection. You won't believe it, that not only do you require the services of a topographical surveyor, you also need somebody who will be able to tell you what is the level of the water table. You also need to find out how far is the water table from your formation line, because you need to, water generates a lot of pressure that can result in the settlement of the foundation. So all this information is gathered by your surveyor. He can outsource some of the services if he cannot do it. And then from there, prepare that information, because you need to know what sort of soils are on your site. Cohesive soils, which are not really good for foundation, and other soils which are good for foundations. You need to know what sort of soil samples are on your site. And fortunately for you, you've got an expert, topographical surveyor, who does all the dirty work. He will carry out all the soil investigation, check at the water level, and be able to prepare that information in the format that your structural engineer will use it now to prescribe a suitable foundation. Could be piled, could be strip, could be any form of foundation that is dictated by the type of soils. But the most important thing is soil decide what foundation you're going to have. Yes. Not the cost, not affordability. Imagine if you buy a site, for instance. You've identified a site that is clay. Clay is cohesive, it's not very, it gets wet very quickly and dry very fast, and it's very compressible, and it results in a lot of settlement of foundations. Imagine if you are not getting the services of a surveyor, and then you bring in a builder.
Yeah, we get mantua odi. Mantua odi a crack,
Absolutely,
but
yes.
mantua odi a crack is so again. We have to look at these things. It's not necessarily mantua a certain area crack because we skipped the pre-construction services. Then you determine okay, this soil type needs this kind of work.
Absolutely.
Before we can build. No, just please do pre-construction services to ensure that your foundation types are suitable for your location.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with the place you've bought it. There's something wrong with the steps you took. You didn't do your pre-construction services to inform the foundation type.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've talked about the pre-construction services, right? But perhaps let's just highlight the risks involved in not following through with the pre-construction services?
The idea of executing a construction project on the basis of the possession of property to start with is not a good idea. You can't just say, look, I'm going to build offices because I've inherited a plot. No. You need to inform yourself about the market, about the product itself, about construction processes, the design. And like I said, there are people who can assist you. So in the absence of pre-construction services, we are likely, first of all, to embark on a wrong product or project that is ill-advised, which is likely to have construction difficulties and market challenges. So that is the first pitfall. And the other pitfall which a lot of people are experiencing currently is with structural defects, cracks. Some cracks cannot be easily repaired. The house needs to be demolished. And if you don't demolish the house, you need to spend a lot of money to repair the structural defects.
Stuff like that.
Absolutely. This is where, I will not mention any projects, but we know a few projects around where when it rains, all the water fills up.
Yes.
Yeah. That means you did not have a surveyor.
You didn't do the pre-construction services.
Absolutely. To raise the formation line above the flood elevation. So those are some of the services that we're talking about that there are so many risks that you can actually experience. Things like wrong land use. Imagine building offices in a residential plot. That's a land use permit zoning issue, which you could go to the city council, physical planning department that can assist you. If you're an individual, we know that, let's be realistic, there are people who don't have money to hire a consultant. So how do you deal with such people? You've got a plot that you inherited, but you don't have the budget to hire consultants. But you've got money that you can use to put a 2-bedroom house.
Would it not be best to have a consultant first and then embark on that construction?
It's ideal.
Hey.
But we're talking about somebody who does not have the budget to hire the services of...
I would not advise anyone to
Absolutely.
not highlight or to not have pre-construction services.
It will be a disaster.
Hey.
It will be a disaster. So
get pay now or pay more later. Pay now.
Yeah.
For the right people.
Yeah, and avoid the
or
future
pay more, yes.
Yeah, or pay more in the future.
Yes, or demolish in the wrong zone.
So there are people who can assist. It depends on your budget, your affordability. You could get more established consultants who can navigate with you through the whole process.
Or you can take listed property developers.
Or you can outsource listed
yes.
or Wrangler facilities to assist you to go through the process.
True. Thank you so much for being here. This has been very informative. Please do follow Oakanza Alfred on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, Oakanza Alfred, and do reach us, inbox us, and let's have an engagement on this. If you're experiencing problems because you did not carry out pre-construction services, please do reach out to us at Lesedi Lebone and reach out to Wrangler Facilities. They will be able to do a bit of damage control. I can really pay now or pay more later. So this is about it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to hearing from you. Let's engage and strive for impact.
Thank you.
Deal.